what is your take on how this industry is likely to evolve in terms of the number of players, whether there's going to be a shakeout? If there is a shakeout, will there be consolidation? And most importantly, what could this all mean for strategy as it unfolds? Are there opportunities for the company to take advantage of that dynamic?
Yeah, well, I think every business has to have an operating model that works, that adds value, if it's going to grow and prosper. So one model is just to provide Bitcoin exposure if people in the country in question can't get it any other way. There are a lot of people in the UK that bought our stock for 4 years because they just couldn't buy Bitcoin any other way. So if there's a value proposition, in Brazil or in France or wherever, then maybe just you can be a simple Bitcoin holder. I think another value proposition is to issue digital credit, and you can see that Strive and Metaplanet have both pursued digital credit. If you're good at it, by the way, you can do digital credit and not be good at it, right? If you take on debt you can't pay back, right? Then that doesn't help the company, that hurts the company. But if you're good at digital credit, that could be another case. A third would be anything that uses capital, right? So if these companies, if they want to generate Bitcoin yield, they're going to have to find some way to generate a benefit from the capital, right? You could underwrite insurance. You could support trading or derivatives trading by posting it as collateral. You could engage in derivatives trading, right? You could literally become a public company with a lot of capital that trades in the digital derivatives market, posting your Bitcoin as the collateral to take the trade and sell the volatility. It's a different business model. What do I think? I think there's thousands of companies that get launched. Many don't succeed. Some will fail. Some get launched doing one thing and then they evolve into something different. Like look at our company, we evolved. In fact, you could argue that the most successful companies evolve through 2, 3, 4 stages in their life cycle. I mean, Apple didn't start out as a phone company for sure. And I think Elon, maybe he ends up being a robot company and not a car company, right? At Tesla. So I think that the winners will evolve and they'll find a niche. And I think that the ones that don't evolve, if you're just a holding company holding Bitcoin, not doing anything with it, might you get bought up? Yeah, you might get bought. And would that be good for you? You're a lot better off, if you have something people want to buy. For example, Sears, had a future because they had a lot of real estate that somebody wanted to own. And if they didn't own the real estate, it would have been a much worse situation for them. So I think that you're going to see all sorts of examples now, and presumably thousands and thousands of companies get launched, and they all do different things. And we're very embryonic early on, like in the first year or 2 years. 50 years from now, right? I mean, the debate will be who's the best Bitcoin-backed insurance company, right? But 20, 30, 40 years from now, and that company doesn't even exist right now. But on the other hand, what about us? Are they opportunities for us? Well, they were an opportunity for Strive. Strive did the deal with Similar, and they closed it quickly, and they were able to build their capital base pretty rapidly. So that's, we see examples of that. There probably will be some mergers and acquisitions of other companies in various space if they put together their various assets in a synergistic way. Our business is laser-like, monomaniacally focused on one thing right now. We want to make Stretch, STRC, the premier credit instrument in the digital world, the best digital credit in the world, and maybe the best credit in the world. If we can create a product that trades with less than 5 vol, that pays you 10% dividend with a stable $100 value, and we pay a rock dividend, the question is, who would want that? It's like everybody would want that. Why? I mean, why wouldn't you want it? Like, what's the demand for that? It's infinite. So effective. If Stretch works, it's the ideal product, and the company that can create treasury credit based on digital capital has the ideal business model. And so we generally won't get distracted, right? The number one risk for us is a dilutive distraction, right? Everything else on our capital structure that undermines the credit of stretch, is a question mark, right? So you have to be thinking about that. And then anything we might do that looks complicated or risky or different would enter anything that introduces a question in the mind of the stretch investor. Can we pay the dividend? That's going to be deemed negative. Anything that introduces a question in the equity investor's mind, can you outperform Bitcoin? So generally we're pretty skeptical on acquisitions because they take a long time, and then you might acquire something that you didn't want that you have to divest, and then everybody wants to talk about how and why and how long it takes. And so I wouldn't say it's not a good strategy for other companies and other investors. There are other companies and other investors for which it's a great opportunity for them, and they can make a lot of money and they will pursue it, and God bless them. For us, we believe we've stumbled upon maybe the most promising product, STRC. After 20 capital markets transactions and all sorts of credit instruments, we think we found the best one for us and for the credit investor. And we think we found a great business model, right? The treasury company, if you can generate return of capital dividends scalably and scale up the issuance of treasury credit, you've got maybe one of the most efficient business models in the world and one of the most compelling products in the world. So we don't want to do anything that would dilute that focus, undermine the credit of the balance sheet, or distract the management team from what we see as a once in a lifetime opportunity.